So Brentford took on Tottenham Hotspur in a London derby, and I was watching to see how Tottenham Hotspur are going to play. After spending 350 million pounds to buy players already, that is so far because they are likely to spend more when they start signing the likes of Mamouche. So I was watching them to see how they blend, especially this is the first game where they signed almost 11 players. And I was watching the Deserby's team to see how they blend. But it was Brentford who was at home, and Brentford were the more serious team. If you see the way Brentford were taking the game to Tottenham Hotspur, they were forcing them into many mistakes. As Lewis Potter opened the scoring, and Tottenham couldn't respond. And Jamal scored again before Michael Kayode scored to make it 3-0. So Brentford ran riot there 3-0 at home against Tottenham Hotspur. They had no answers to the attack that Brentford was bringing. Yes, they may be away, but that does not mean that they will not perform at all or even get one goal. So shame on Tottenham Hotspur for this kind of performance. This is a team that I think they spent 100 million pounds, 90 plus to sign Sandro Tonali, 85 million pounds for Matheus Fernandez, the Van Heek. So many players signed this summer, including the Saviho, the recent signing, the Saviho, they signed for 85. And I think signing Saviho for 85 shows that the transfer window is dead and gone because I cannot believe that Saviho, who cannot get playing time at Manchester City, will go for 85 million pounds. That is shameful. This transfer window is dead and gone. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Many people will say, oh, it's just the first game of the season. It's just the first game of the season. They're already in the relegation zone. So when are they going to pick up? Anyway, let's see how it goes. Maybe later they can jail. But for now, it's a shame that you spend 350 million pounds only to get this kind of result against Brentford. How much did Brentford spend? Brentford didn't even spend up to 100 million pounds to buy players. They didn't even really reinforce like that. Tottenham Hotspur that spent almost 400 million pounds to buy players could not even score one goal shamefully. Then Brighton took on Aston Villa. You see, this is a game that is tricky because of course, Brighton can beat any team on their day, and Aston Villa are one of the top teams now in the Premier League, especially after qualifying for the Champions League. So I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a tough game. Highest it may end in a draw. But little did I know that Brighton are going to run riot here at their next stadium, and Lindelof got an own goal to open the scoring. Although the ball was already going in, but I think Lindelof was in the way and it deflected off Lindelof to enter. And the Cooper made it 2-0. Then before he Sherwood scored two goals to make it 4-0 as Brighton ran riot here. So first of all, kudos to Brighton for this win. But I saw something before this game that Aston Villa said that they were not ready. Let's me not assume that is true, but if it's true, I think that is a no-no. You had all the time in preseason. You had all the time. In fact, this season is the season that everyone started more late. Most times, season start at August 9th. Now, this season started at August 22nd. And you're still telling me you're not ready. So when will you be ready? Shame on Aston Villa for this kind of performance. Because they are even a team representing England at the Champions League. So how can they lose 4-0 to Brighton? That is a no-no now. That is a no-no with the great players they have in their ranks, the Boedia, all of them, all the great players they have in their ranks, they couldn't do justice to Brighton or even get a draw. Because let's even give them the benefit of that. Okay, they're playing away. But you can get a draw at the Anfield Stadium now. See, Unai Emery, anyway, maybe the Aston Villa board may be happy with you, but you have had a reputation of not starting the season well. Last season, it was the same thing. You didn't start the season well. And later, you went to grind out 10 wins in 10 games to climb up the table. Maybe that is what they want to do again. Maybe later, when they pick up, they can grind out 10 wins in 10 games. But I hope it works out for them. Kudos to Brighton for this big win and trashing of Aston Villa. Then Manchester City took on Bournemouth. You see, after that 3-0 humiliating defeat to Arsenal in the Community Shield, Manchester City needed a morale boosting win. And they did it the hard way against Bournemouth because Bournemouth took the lead in 26 minutes through Travania. Look at that pass he received. He was at the edge of the box and he was able to slot in. So, but Bournemouth did one mistake. They were trying to hold on. And in the Premier League, you don't score one goal and start trying to hold on. No. Maybe two goals you can hold on, but one goal is not a goal. You need to score at least another goal for you to hold on. But in the 85th minute, Maguire was able to capitalize on a header to equalize. And it was looking like a game that is going to end 1-1. Not until Vardio received that pass from Cheki at the edge of the box there. So Vardio was able to turn and slot in. And it looked, first of all, it looked like it was an offside, not until the VAR went to check. And it was confirmed that it was a clean goal. And that was the last kick of the game as Manchester City came from one goal down to beat Bournemouth. So, first of all, kudos to Enzo Maresca and Manchester City because so many Chelsea fans were wishing Enzo Maresca evil because of the way his contract negotiations with Manchester City went while he was still the manager at Chelsea. You see, Chelsea, I think you have to move on. You have to move on. Xabi Alonso is also a good coach. Enzo Maresca wants to coach Manchester City after Pep have left. So, and he has gotten the job. And if you watch the way Manchester City played, it was they were playing more of long balls, and I think the identity has shifted. The identity is no longer that tiki taka kind of football we used to see them as. So Enzo Maresca is more direct. Erling Haaland had a lot of chances to score in that game. There was this one ball that he wanted to score. He just rushed into the post, but the ball had to hit him. So he didn't know how the ball hit him, and he was frustrated. So I think Manchester City are going to still do well in the Premier League from what I saw against the Panama. Because but this Panama team you are looking, you may think it's a small team, it's not a small team. This Panama team held almost all the big teams last season, including this Manchester City. And Manchester City were able to do justice by beating them. I think it's a good one because if this Bournemouth were on the brink of qualifying for the Champions League, but I think Liverpool held on and they said no. So congratulations to Manchester City for coming from one goal down to beat Bournemouth. Then Newcastle hosted Liverpool at the St James Park, and I know this one is going to be a tough game. Of course, Newcastle at the St James Park are not an easy nut to crack. And when the game started, just the fifth minute, Anthony Elanga slotted in from a right angle to open the scoring for Newcastle United. And it was looking like a game they were going to control, but Liverpool had other ideas. As Cody Gakpo equalized in the 55th minute in the second half. Look at that shot he took from outside the box. The keeper didn't know how that ball went in. As Liverpool equalized. Then, just 2 minutes later, Willock was able to find the back of the net to restore the lead for Newcastle United. So Newcastle United got back the lead and they were able to hold on that lead till the 90 plus minutes. Yes, when their new signing was brought down and Dominic Soboslai was able to convert from the spot. So, first of all, congratulations to Liverpool for fighting back to draw. But you see, Liverpool have dropped points now in their first game also. Yes, there are teams that lost, like Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur. There are teams that lost, but I think it's a setback already because I'm looking at them as one of the title challengers this season. And for them to draw their first game, although they can still bounce back later, this is just the first game, but I think it's a little bit of setback because Newcastle sold many of their players. In fact, two key players in Sandro Tonali and I think Bruno Guimaraes. So, and I was expecting them to be weaker than they used to be, especially facing Liverpool, who signed good players and are looking to also sign Minte from Brighton. So, congratulations to Liverpool for fighting back. Then in the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona traveled to face Elche in the Spanish La Liga. And first of all, looking at the game, I knew it was a one-way traffic. Barcelona were getting 3 points no matter what. And it didn't disappoint. Rafinha scored 2 goals and Fermin Lopez scored 2 goals to help Barcelona trash Elche 5 goals to nothing. Adeyemi, the new signing Adeyemi was also on the score sheet. So kudos to Barcelona. They are looking like a team that is ready to defend the title. You see, Barcelona just knows how to dominate the La Liga. And it is not helping them in the Champions League because as they are dominating this La Liga now, they will feel that they are good enough. So they may not even know the right players to sign. So I think La Liga need to do better in sponsorships or people buying clubs. Let more top people buy more clubs in La Liga and challenge Barcelona there. That is the only way the Spanish La Liga can get back to challenging in the Champions League. Of course, you have seen what happened to Real Madrid since Toni Kroos and Luka Modric left. They haven't been able to find their feet to even win La Liga, not to top of Champions League. So I think La Liga need more investors. The teams are not getting any better. The HA you have this season will even be weaker next season. It's not good. These teams are not even able to sign players. If you look at the likes of Osasuna, the way they were last year, they're even weaker this season. Teams get weaker in the La Liga instead of getting stronger. And that is why Barcelona have continued to dominate the La Liga. Look at the Atletico Madrid, for example, now they're supposed to even challenge the big two, the Barcelona and Real Madrid. They are started drawing their first game. So Barcelona is no more, the Spanish La Liga is no more competitive. And teams there get weaker by the, only Barcelona and Real Madrid get stronger by the season, others get weaker. So that is the reason why Barcelona will continue to dominate the La Liga. And this season, they are still favorites to win the league. Real Madrid have all the players in the world, yes, but the problem is if they will blend. If they blend, they can give Barcelona a run for their money. But the Spanish La Liga is getting weaker, and something needs to be done there.